So today we have our artist in residence, Julie Bennett, and she's here with independent curator Gita Joshi, and they're going to sit down for a chat, and we're very excited to have you guys here. So everyone enjoy, and yeah, I'll leave it to the two of them.
Hi, I am here in the studio with artist Julie Bennett. She is the artist in residence at Bankside Hotel, and we're going to be talking about her work and her residency. Welcome, Julie.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. It's really good that you're here, so thank you. And we're going to chat about my work, so thanks.
So let's start with the residency. How has it been? What's it like being an artist in residence in central London?
Amazing. I really like the opportunity to be here and have the support of the staff of both Contemporary Collective and the hotel staff. Like, the hotel staff is so amazing to me at Bankside Hotel. It really feels like a nice community, so I'm very happy. But it's also what it does is it allows me to paint, and I don't have any distraction. You know, I'm here for 6 weeks. I've done 4 weeks already, and I'm here mainly every day. And so to just sort of absorb myself into painting is brilliant. And even when like visitors come, we're talking about painting. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if I'm not painting, I'm still talking about painting, which is a really brilliant thing.
Really nice. What's really interesting about this space is one wall of this whole studio is glazed, so people can actually watch you work. I know a lot of residences are very private, you know, you kind of go and do this sort of almost like monastic, you know, work hidden away in the studio. You've got lots of visitors coming in. Is that distracting? I mean, obviously you've got, you know, Tate Gallery not far away and South Bank and maybe that way.
Yeah, like it's really good, because it's really inspirational in the fact that people are either visiting the Tate or, like you say, the Hayward or Victoria Miro, or, you know, and so people are coming with stories about the exhibitions that they've seen or the exhibitions that they're going to, so that, you know, their expectations, and so that's really, it's just really, like I say, it's really nice. They're just talking about painting.
So nice, like really immersive.
Like, because this area in London, they're trying to name the art quarter. It's like a new thing. So, you know, to be in a studio in central London in the art quarter is great.
So your time here, you said that you've got 6 weeks. Have you been painting more than you would normally?
Oh my goodness, yeah. But just because, like, I don't have any other responsibility. I don't even have to wash up, you know, like the hotel do everything, and so however silly that sounds, there's no distraction, and so I can just paint or think about painting, and you know, that's such a rare opportunity as an artist, because you are having to think about, you know, life's admin as well as, you know. But here I am just doing.
Because I know you actually cleared your calendar as well, right? So you could actually be doing this full time rather than managing it with other obligations.
Yeah, completely. And I think, considering we've all been in lockdown for so long, you know, like, it's been, it's like a wonderful opportunity for people to come and visit me. I've had people I haven't seen for a long time. I've had somebody come from Scotland. I've had people come from Chichester and Sussex, you know, just so many. I've got somebody coming from Yorkshire this weekend. So, like, different people that I've interacted with to do with my painting. It's a lovely opportunity to sort of.
It's really nice, and we've got great weather for it. People want to be out in lockdown. So let's move to the theme of this residency, art icons. Well, how did you land on that?
So Bankside Hotel, which we're in, is a 5-star art hotel, and like I say, it's in London. And so I was like, how can I? What should I be painting? What project should I propose for this 6 weeks? And then I was thinking, oh, maybe it should be my art icons. And 10 years ago, I graduated from Campbell College of Art. And for my degree showpiece, I did a piece called Born to be Famous. And I analysed and thought about 15 artists that had been introduced to me through the degree and through my practice. And I painted them as their children photographs, you know, at the school photo. So I did 15 of them as a set. And so that was 10 years ago. And actually, I thought, well, it wouldn't be really nice to revisit that in a way, but actually paint the people now as they are today, and if they're still alive. And or, you know, like their sort of last photographs, and think about, are they still relevant to me? Are there new artists that have come along since I graduated that are inspiring me? And what is it am I getting from them? How are they informing my practice? And maybe some of them I aren't relevant anymore, so I've dismissed them. Yeah.
So looking at the artists you have got here in the studio, how have you chosen them? Because you said obviously it's about how relevant they are to you now.
Yes.
And then some have been more impactful for longer term. So can we talk through these three that we've got here?
Yeah. So Marlene Dumas, South African artist, lives in the Netherlands now. I did actually paint her in the Born to be Famous. And for me, there's so much about Marlene that I aspire to be, or she educates me with her brush marks and her practice. You know, she's one of the most successful living female artists. Like her works go for a huge amount of money, and that's really aspirational, I think, as a woman artist, because we're so used to sort of seeing white men as successful artists, and to see a South African, you know, woman, it really up there with the names is really, really good. But for me, it's about the application of paint and her looseness, and the freedom that how she uses the material is always about the physicality of the paint, and that, you know, sparked off interest 10 years ago, really, you know, of how it's all about the material.
Paint and what you can do with it.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to Marlene, and then we've got Tracy, Evan here, and Basquiat. So can you talk about the influences of both of these?
Yes. So Tracy, again, was part of, and Jean-Michel was part of the Born to be Famous range. For Tracy, it's not so much about the work, it's actually Tracy as a person. Her blinkered approach to fame and how that's what she wanted. She wanted validation, maybe with the fame, and she really wasn't afraid to tell us every single thing about her. And there was sort of no holds barred. You know, she talked to us about her sexuality, her miscarriages, her, you know, her parents, all of the terrible things that happened to her when she was a kid in Margate, and, you know, like that openness as an artist is really, really interesting. And as a fan, I love that, because, like, you want to know everything about them, and, you know, she's not afraid to tell us everything. And, you know, she's talked about every sort of detail,
every aspect of her life. Yeah. Stuff that most people would keep private.
Yeah, and she's not only talked about it, but she's made us an artwork, so she's got a visual representation of that part of her life, of whether it would be the cigarette packet that was in the shirt of her family member that got shot, or, you know, or the unmade bed, you know, like that whole thing of saying you know, I'm not afraid to take home half the art world and sleep with them to make myself famous, you know, like she really no holds barred, you know, everybody sort of celebrates Picasso sleeping with all the women models, yeah. Let's, you know, so what that she sleeps with the guys, you know, that's great, and the bed is the visual representation of that.
And do you want to?
Yeah, well, I think Jean Michel, if I could be anybody, I'd be him. You know, like living in Manhattan, best friends with Andy Warhol, sleeping with Madonna, you know, what more do you want? But for me, it's about, again, a desire to be famous. You know, a blinkered approach, yeah, of who do I, you know, what stages do I need to take? Who do I need to be seeing? Who do I need to be speaking to? And, you know, and he got that free studio under the gallery. But his application of paint is what excites me, is the cleanness of his colour and his sharpness of his lines and the balance of the colours. Even though it's graffiti in a way, it really informs my practice, and the way that he applies the paint and it being about colour and bold and graphic and yeah.
So you've touched on celebrity. Can we kind of talk about your personal obsession with celebrity, which is not just, you know, while you're as an artist, right? This is something that you've been a fan of, you know, musicians since a very young age, and, you know, that interest in celebrity. Can we talk about Boy George and some of the musicians?
Yeah.
And what, like, celebrity means to you?
I don't know exactly why it excites me, but it really, really does excite me. And my mum, when I was a kid, she used to write to Hollywood studios and get signed photographs. So this book that she had really made me, you know, informed, I suppose, at a young age about celebrity, and so that, and she was so sort of glamorous and fashionable. Like, looking at me, you wouldn't know that I was interested in fashion and glamour and so forth, but I really am, and all of that kind of world excites me. And my mum always believed that anything was possible. And so when I, you know, became a fan of Boy George when I was like 12 or 13, she was like, oh, well, let's go and meet him, you know, or let's go and meet his mother, you know, or, you know.
They were never really out of reach, as the media would have us say, you know.
Yeah, no, she was there, you know, like I was interested in Pete Burns from the band Dead or Alive. And, you know, and my mum took us on the train to Toxteth, to Liverpool, to go and meet him, you know. We found out where his council flat was and knocked on the door, you know. So I guess that ease came from my mum.
So interesting. Okay.
And I suppose living in London as well, everything's possible in London, isn't it? You know, out of all of the places, everybody always plays in London.
Oh, yeah.
So I was very lucky as a Londoner, as a kid.
So I think what's really interesting is this, and there's something that comes through in your work, which we'll talk about a bit more as well, is the idea of celebrity as this persona that's sort of very amplified and heightened for the stage, and then, you know, this other person that might be a sort of quieter personality, a more private person behind the scenes that we don't always see that side of them.
Yes.
So, okay, so my next question is, I mean, it all connects through to this, so is that why you do, is that why portraits are your preferred subject?
I love people. My life is all about people, whether it be my friends or I'm just, like, I wouldn't want to move to New Zealand to see the landscape, you know. I'd rather move to Piccadilly Circus and see all of the different faces and races and in Piccadilly Circus, you know. Like, I just love being surrounded by people.
Okay.
And then faces, so it's not people, because you don't do crowds. I mean, I've only ever seen your work as
No,
solo,
singular, yes.
the solo subjects.
Yes.
So is that, I mean, and then they're always like close up as well. I've never seen torsos or full body. Do you actually do that, or is it really just the faces that is the most fascinating thing for you?
It is the most fascinating. I will, of course, do live drawing, and I will train my eye to do portrait sittings and so forth. But the thing that excites me is the face, and my background of magazine design. It is all about, you know, the close crop on the page of the person, and I think that that's something that my painting relates to. Is sort of popular culture magazines of the type crop, and that's not something that you have really in portraiture.
Yeah, where the top is cut off, right? We've seen that. Okay, so what draws you to a particular artist? Because I know your work is actually way more research based than it might first appear.
So you know, like how I'd get the reference.
Yeah. So what you know, like why? Okay, so we know you've been interested in Tracy Emin for many years, but let's say I don't know, like, oh, let's change it up. Like, how did you choose which ones to put in this show?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because I made quite a long list of all the different possibilities, and then I really tried very hard to focus on the ones that were really relevant to my practice at this moment in time. And there's new faces as well as older faces in this series, and maybe people that I've just started to, artists that I've just started to understand maybe, or be inspired by, like say Vincent van Gogh. 10 years ago I would have dismissed him completely and said he was too commercial, and oh no, you know, it's just, you know, it's not something I want to be in. But actually, when you take the time, his use of colour, his use of brush marks, absolutely outstanding. But yeah, so how do I, going back to your question, so
and then also I want you to sort of talk about the research that goes into it, because you know that you like, you know, whether it's traces or Van Gogh's, you know, brushwork and things like that. But like, what is the research that you're doing beyond like looking at the artwork?
Okay, so I read lots and lots and lots about them because I want to get to know them. As a fan, I think that that's what you do. You know, you read, you're hungry for information. So you're watching all the YouTube videos that you possibly can. You're watching the interviews. You're reading everything. You know, and so I think that I build up this vision of who I think this person is. Whether that really is who they are, who knows? But it's what I think they are. And so then I would collect lots and lots and lots of images of them and make a mood board. You know, I probably sort of 30 or 40 images, and start to work out the characteristics of what I want to portray within the portrait, and what it is I'm trying to say. And what I do is I make a Photoshop composite of maybe like eyes from one picture, mouth from another picture, hair from a different picture, like with the Derek Jarman piece, the hair's from a different
and we see that in Traces as well as one of those examples.
Yes, as in the eyes is from one, because of this, I really wanted strong eye contact with you, because that's the kind of image that I think she has. She's so confident and so fuck you sort of thing, and I love the characterful face of the mouth, but I couldn't get the eyes that I wanted, so I had to, you know, Photoshop my reference to get all what I imagined Tracy to be.
All right, what was my next question? So is that, I mean, what draws you to a particular celebrity? Like the richness of their life that you get when you're sort of reaching and researching them as well?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing that always steps up is their work first. And then if I say somebody like Chantal Joffy, who I'm going to be painting next, her work is the thing that I like the most, but I still read everything I can about her. I watch all her videos and stuff, and she's a very, very recluse character, very, very quiet. So the reference that I'm putting together is no direct eye contact with you, actually nearly hiding in the canvas, because that's how I believe that she is. And I've been to see her, like I try and meet everybody. So I've met Marlena Dumas maybe twice. I've met Tracy a couple of times. Sadly, I never met Jean-Michel. And so Chantal I've met 2 or 3 times. And she is very quietly spoken, and you do have to say, pardon? and so I really wanted to make that within the work. And Tracy is. What do you want to talk to me about? You know, like, are you really bothering me? You know? And whereas Marlena, such a wonderful character, so warm, so generous, has all the time in the world to talk to you. She spoke a lot to me about my painting and her painting. We probably spoke for at least sort of half an hour, and I wanted to get that warmth of her character within the work.
And then Marlena Dumas, she's the only one here that is actually in landscape format as well. Can we talk about that?
Yeah,
because all the others are portrait as per portraits would.
Yeah,
be,
well, it really was led by the hair, because her hair is just so wild and amazingly big, and in real life it really is as well. It's fantastic there. And then I thought, well, actually, all right, I'm going to turn it to landscape to try it. You know, and I think that it's worked really well. And what it's done is given me enough space to enjoy painting the hair and you know, enjoy the physicality of the paint within the hair. In a way, there's some sort of side tomboly marks within the hair, you know, like a real looseness.
And the background colours are always flat. There's no like contextual setting for the sitters as well. I know the colours have significance. Can you talk through some of them?
Yeah. So it really is about the celebrity or the subject as the person. I don't want background information. It really is the tight crop of the face that's what I'm looking for. And with the colours, say like with the red of Tracy, you know, for us, what is red? It's like passion, sex, excitement, energy, and that's what a lot of her work is about. It is about sex, or it is about love, and so then I try very hard to use a colour that will inform the viewer, even if they don't maybe know the artist's work. It will give them a feeling of what the expectation is of who this person is. So it gives you a subconscious feeling, so that you actually get to know the character through the colour.
Language of colouring.
Yes. Yeah. And so, like with Jean-Michel, with the pink, like I think that he was very close to his femininity, and his work is about fluorescent, bright colours and bold colours, and so that's why, you know, I chose that as well.
And the brush marks as well, like mark making is a massive part of your practice. The looseness of the paint handling. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. So I paint with household gloss, which is what you paint front door with, and the weight of that paint just excites me. The way that you apply it just falls down, and so it's a challenge to paint with, but clearly it's paint. And I think we live in such a screen-based world. You're all at home on screen. You know, like if we're not on social media or on screen, we're walking along the street and we've got a digital screen advertising some supermarket. Everything's flat, and I really wanted to come back to the physicality of paint, and I really want it to be clear that it's a painting, and I want the people to enjoy the marks, the weight, the drips, the accident.
And the drips are not intentional here, are they? Because we have, you know, we've been to galleries and exhibitions where we've seen artists where it feels often quite deliberate placement of drips, but here they're all just the viscosity of the paint that's taken.
Yeah, I would feel the piece had no integrity if I placed drips into places. It would be like, you know, I've worked with commissions before, and they've sort of said, you know, oh, I was expecting a few more drips, you know, just like, oh no, I can't just put them on, you know, and so it wouldn't feel true. I want it to be accident, and I want it to be truth, and I feel that the drips are sort of my truth.
And that's where you really appreciate seeing the work up close as well, to see like that depth, and you know, because the drips are always like sitting proud, but you do really want to touch it. Is it still work?
In the studio, you see, you're allowed to touch it. When it moves to the gallery, everyone will be like, I can't touch it here.
So you're using household paint though. What do you love? I mean, you've mentioned like the weight and, you know, the movement of the paint itself, but what about colour blending and things like that? I mean, do you like literally just buy colours ready-made, or do you then still mix colours in the studio?
I still mix colours. I do buy obviously some ready-made colours, but you can't help as an artist change the colour and mix. You know, I've always got a sort of palette on the go with it sort of mixed up. You can see.
So how would you describe your painting? Like what words would you use?
Bold, unapologetic, graphic, iconic, enjoyment of paint.
Yeah, I think that really comes across.
So painterly.
Yeah, painterly. We'll think of some more in the coming days, I'm sure. So you've been on this residency, you've got like about 10 days left. How have you enjoyed actually being here full time? Because I know you work quite late into the night as well. Is that just because that's your natural working pattern?
Well, I think once it's going well, you can't stop. And why stop? I don't need to stop. You know, I think that if I'm in the midst of it, then I will continue. And you know, 6 weeks is such a small amount of time, and I really want to just give it my all and make as much work as possible. Like my target was making about 6 new works, and I think I'm nearly on 10. So I've really pushed it and pushed it and pushed it.
And what are you working on till the end of the residency?
So I've got Jenny Saville, just started.
Yeah.
She's on the aluminium as well, which is what Andy Warhol's on. If anybody wants to see the work, it's all on Degree Art website. But yeah, so that's a new service for me, is the aluminium, and it's really successful. I'm really pleased with the surface, because the shine of the metal is allowing the paint to move, whereas the canvas does, you know, grip it. So yes, I'm working on Jenny Saville, and as I said, I'm working on Chantal Joffé, and possibly a David Hockney.
And do you think you've had a successful run at this residency? Have you achieved everything you wanted it to be for you?
Oh yeah, yes, everything. Like even just like the artist events that I've done. So I ran 2 artist salons, which was wonderful to have 5 professional artists come in, talk about my work, talk about their work, and a group discussion. And they didn't know each other, so it was really nice to hear artists talking. The first one was about inspiration and what inspires their projects and their practice. And then the second one was mark making and about their sort of initial marks on the surface. And you know, some people were saying, oh, they draw with biro and then paint. Some people say they project and paint with the projection. So it was really interesting. So, and what a fantastic opportunity to have 10 professional artists come in. And then obviously to meet you
as well,
and to do an conversation to really, you know, normally an artist in their studio just works on their own. So to be in central London and have the opportunity to invite people into such a prestigious location is really nice.
Well, I've loved coming and seeing you here. I think I'll be back once more at least before you wrap up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. It's been really great talking to you. I think that's everything, right?
Yeah, well, thank you everybody at home, and really, really grateful for you tuning in, and see you soon.